Alright, folks, strap in, because we need to talk about Mickey 17, a movie that's either going to blow our minds or leave us questioning our entire existence. Maybe both. You know Bong Joon Ho, right? The guy who gave us Parasite, Snowpiercer, Memories of Murder. You name it, the man doesn't miss. And now, he's stepping into full-blown sci-fi with Mickey 17. So what's it about? Well, it's based on Mickey 7, a novel by Edward Ashton. And the premise? Oh, just your casual dystopian nightmare scenario. We're talking cloning, existential crises, and what I can only assume will be Robert Pattinson looking confused but attractive in space. In this one, Pattinson plays Mickey, a disposable worker on a colonization mission. And when I say disposable, I mean, if he dies, they just print a new one. Boom. Fresh Mickey, same brain, same memories. No problem, right? Wrong. Because one day, a new Mickey appears while the old one is still around. And let me tell you, nothing good happens when two versions of yourself exist at the same time. That's existential crisis on steroids. Now, why should you care? Because this is Bong Joon Ho's first movie since Parasite. And if there's one thing Bong does better than anyone, it's making genre films that hit you with social commentary when you least expect it. Like Snowpiercer, a post-apocalyptic train ride that's actually a brutal critique of class struggle. The Host, a monster movie that's also a deep-cut government critique. So Mickey 17? Expect sci-fi mind games with the side of existential dread and capitalism nightmares. Long story short, this could be one of the most important sci-fi films of the decade. Or it could just be Robert Pattinson having a breakdown in space. Either way, I'm in. Felix, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, but there's more to it than that. Bong Joon Ho doesn't just do sci-fi, he reinvents it. Snowpiercer wasn't just about a train, it was about the entire world's power structure condensed into a single dystopian setting. Okja wasn't just about a super pig, it was about corporate greed, environmentalism, and the ethics of consumption. That's where the Bong Joon Ho twist comes in. He takes an idea that seems straightforward on the surface, and turns it into something deeply unsettling and personal. If I had to guess, we're going to see some serious moral dilemmas. In fact, very likely an entire system designed to control these disposable workers. Maybe Mickey isn't just one of many, maybe he's the one that fights back.
So you're telling me this might be Snowpiercer, but instead of one long train, it's just endless Robert Pattinsons?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, approved.
And speaking of Pattinson, Bong Joon Ho choosing him as the lead is very deliberate. We've seen Pattinson take on roles that force him into extreme existential isolation before. The Lighthouse, Good Time, High Life. All of these movies deal with identity, survival, and paranoia, so casting him as a disposable clone who knows he's disposable? That's just chef's kiss perfect.
Alright, enough talk. We're seeing this tonight.
The show is starting in 20 minutes. If we leave now, we might make it. If you don't get distracted by the snack stand again.
Look, I need my nachos. It's part of the experience.
Your experience always results in you dropping half of it on the floor.
That only happened twice. 3 times at most. Holy smokes, what do we even just watch? And how do I even begin to process it? This was such a fun movie to watch from start to finish. Yes, as expected, Mickey 17 is a sci-fi adventure about 2 Mickeys stuck on a frozen death rock. But what I didn't expect? It's a full-on dark comedy from beginning to end. And I mean laugh out loud, morally questionable, what am I even watching kind of funny. I was expecting something really dark and heavy, knowing the main concept and Bong's signature style. But no sir. For most of the runtime, this was good, campy, dark comedy satire. There's great humor, thought-provoking sci-fi themes, and even a romance in the mix. But all of that blended in such a clever way that only Bong Joon Ho can pull off. Alright, now let's get into the real reason we're all here. Robert Pattinson losing his mind in space. Again, considering that Bong is arguably the hottest director on planet Earth after striking gold with Parasite, I'm sure every actor on screen was razor sharp committed to bring something of their own to the film. I've always respected Pattinson's dedication to go out of his way to take on the most bizarre roles ever since his sparkly vampire days, but this one blew me away with how good he was. I don't know how he was able to play these multiple versions of himself and still make them feel so natural and legitimate on screen. And as for the other actors, Naomi Ackie, Steven Yeun, Mark Ruffalo, straight A's all around, but especially Toni Collette. I thought she deserved all the credit in the world, and that she stole pretty much every scene she was in. The production design and world building in the film was truly state of the art. Bong's films are all about having a sense of realism and authenticity and production value, and this movie was no exception. The Warner Brothers production money is palpable here, and sort of how it was like an alien Romulus. All of the dirt and grime of the spaceship are on full display. No item or location ever feels out of place. And even the CGI monsters look as real as they can be. Oh yeah, also, you can expect a lot of the signature tripping and falling you often see in Bong's movies. In terms of the sound, I highly recommend watching this in IMAX or Dolby, because you can really feel the amount of detail that went into physically positioning every sound. I don't know much about the technical details about sound, but you could really hear how each sound was carefully placed specifically where it needed to be to achieve this sense of immersion. Okay, enough from me. What did you think, Mr. Film Scholar?
Watching Mickey 17 felt like Bong Joon Ho took his entire filmography, threw it in a blender, and poured out a genre smoothie. There's a little Snowpiercer, a little of The Host, a dash of Okja, and a sprinkle of Parasite, all mixed into something uniquely its own. The social commentary, the satire, dark comedy, the everyman just trying to make a living in a hostile world, and even the bulky pachydermic monsters. And in this case, the film briefly touches upon the grand themes of colonialism, classism, corrupt religious organizations, as well as many others. Even with all the glitzy high-end technology, the microscopic society on the spaceship isn't exempt from classism or discrimination. All in all, the film offers a nightmare scenario of where the human race may be headed for in the future, should such technology were to exist. But because there were so many ideas and themes being explored in this universe with a relatively short runtime, I personally wish that the film could have been longer to explore each of the themes with greater depth. While the film is very funny and doesn't shy away from delivering its social commentaries, it is ultimately a heartwarming, optimistic story about the future of humanity if guided by the right hearts and minds. But this was a very enjoyable film from start to finish, and I can say that this truly is a unique film with a very special flavor of its own.
Or dare I say, sauce.
I see what you did there. Also, some of the homage that Bong pays to cinema in this film are very clear, and while I can't talk about any specifics at the moment, I thought there are a lot of moments that cinephiles will be able to notice and appreciate sprinkled throughout the film. I won't give away anything, but I will say that there is a Wilhelm scream somewhere that is very noticeable. One more thing that I noticed was that the English in this film was the best among all of Bong's English language films. Apparently Bong's translator Sharon Choi translated the entire book page for page for Bong, who then adapted the book into a screenplay, with Choi then looking over the English screenplay once more. And in the final product that we see, that level of dedication is palpable, considering how natural all of the dialogue feels.
That's crazy. No wonder every cuss and joke felt better than any other Bong movie done in English. I'm sure the translation was absolutely crucial in order to properly land the comedy. To quote a very angry Paul Dano,
"Translation is sacred."
Though, because of all the comedy, the movie didn't really cut as deep as some of the other more serious pictures Bong's made before. Maybe Bong just wanted to do something really light and silly after rocking the global film industry with something so heavy and serious like Parasite. For me, I think this is a must-watch if you love Bong Joon Ho, science fiction, and if you have some thirst for twisted dark comedy.
I would agree that this was a very fascinating follow-up to Parasite, but I do want to say, if you're expecting Parasite, I would advise to adjust your expectations. It is a very different experience, but for what it is and in terms of its concept and execution, I would say it is absolutely worth seeing, though I'm sure it could have been better if someone had left a little bit more popcorn to share.
Hey man, you snooze, you starve. Hey guys, thanks for watching our spoiler-free review. What would you want us to watch next? Always love to hear from you guys.
I hope you guys can appreciate Mickey 17 just as much as we did. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.